What it do, what it do. It's your boy Andre Sproul, and you are tuning in to Middle of the Fence podcast. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day, whether you're listening, watching, or both. As I like to say, time is the most valuable thing on this earth because we can spend it but can't make it back. So as always, thank you for your time. And today we have a very special guest, Mr. Josh Banton, or as I like to say, Banton.
Banton! What's going on? How y'all doing? What's going on, man? How you, bro?
Doing good,
How
man.
you?
Appreciate it. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
Of course, man. And just a quick background on Josh over here. So he's an artist, songwriter, raised in Brownsville, Brooklyn, and shaped by time spent living in Jamaica and South Carolina. Adopted at birth, Josh's journey includes becoming a husband at 23, a father at 25, and stepping fully into his artistry as a solo artist at 27, all while balancing fatherhood, work, and purpose. His music is rooted in resilience, faith, and lived experience, with the new inspirational project on the way, including his upcoming single, Stand On It.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, that's the intro right there, setting the tone.
What, man? Let me tell you something. Can I take this man with me? I need this man at every one of my shows, making my bio, making my intro, straight like that, bro. That was really good. I appreciate
Thanks,
that.
man. Of course. So if you're ready, we can dive right into it.
I'm down for it. Let's go.
All right, man. Let's do it. So you were born in the Bronx, raised in Brownsville.
Actually, can we pause? I just want to say this real quick, man.
Yeah.
First of all, you know, we actually met. We worked at
PepsiCo.
Okay, cool. I didn't know if you want to give it credit, but now we worked at Pepsi some years ago, and you know, we met literally just by walking across each other. And I don't know, man. I felt like two kindred souls. We just started up a conversation, and you talked about how you did podcasting back in the day and everything, and then you know we reconnected at our mutual barber. Shout out to Elegant Fade.
Shout out Elegant Fade.
Shout out my boy
Elegant
G,
Fades.
Gustavo. But
absolutely,
you brought up the idea that you were in works to do a podcast called Middle of the Fence, and you gave a very simple, brief, you know, idea about what it is that you were doing. And so I just want to personally say, to see it manifest, to see it come to light. You are 31. This makes 32 episodes deep in this, man. A lot of podcasts don't even get past episodes 5 or episodes 10. You feel what I'm saying? To see your hard work, consistency, to see that everything that you have put your work into and everything that you dreamt and said, to see it come to pass, man. I am a supporter. I'm a fan. And I just want to say I'm proud of you for real. I don't know how much that means, but I just want to personally say,
man,
if you don't get your flowers now, there you go. You feel me? For sure.
Thank you, man.
Yes, sir.
It means a lot, you know, especially because you're one of the people that I was like, hey, I have an idea, and this is like where I'm at with it. And, you know, so anytime I can hear like those words of like support and encouragement, it really does mean a lot, and I don't take it for granted, because sometimes you can get so caught up in like what you're doing and being in the moment with it, you know, that like sometimes it's hard to like zoom out and take a step back and like realize like what you've built and what you're building. Absolutely. You know what I mean? So thank you for that, man.
Sure.
That means a lot. It means a lot.
Yes, sir.
All right, so now let's get into the
Sorry
interview
about that,
portion.
y'all.
No, don't be sorry about that. Don't be sorry about
sure.
that. It's all love and support on Middle of the Fence. Absolutely. So you were born in the Bronx and raised in Brownsville, spent formative years in Jamaica and even some time in South Carolina. So when you zoom out on all those environments, what did each one teach you about who you needed to become?
I want to start off with Jamaica. Actually, I want to move backwards a little bit. I think it came at a pivotal time in my life, 8th grade.
Okay.
Didn't even get to finish 8th grade in the States. It was 2009 during the recession, November 21st. I remember it vividly.
Wow.
My mom at the time was a secretary. My dad was a construction worker, and she got laid off, I believe. And then my dad, obviously, he was like his own boss. Nobody had money, so nobody could pay him. And so he pretty much built a house in Jamaica like years ago. And he was just like, well, why are we staying here to pay rent?
Yeah.
When I already built a house that's already paid for, we straight. You feel me?
Yeah.
And so moving out there, I'll just say in general, it taught me resilience and how to adapt, how to just kind of navigate new surroundings. You know, the first thing, my first experience with Jamaica was really like people thinking that I was rich. Because
you were from like the States.
Because I'm from the States, and they call it foreign, right? And I have the accent. My dad is Jamaican, and I have the accent, but I ain't gonna pull it out right now. But you know, they just call it foreign. It was like some of them. The idea for a lot of places like that was like, you know, especially at that time, you know, you come out, if you're over there, if you live over there, you have money to blow. And honestly, I didn't have no friends out here. I had family, but it was just a culture shock. And so, you know, unfortunately, like my first experience was like using little allowances that I got to kind of like buy friendship a little bit. You know what I mean? Like, you know, and but honestly, it shaped it because, you know, thank God I had good people in my life, you know, good friends in my life at that time that really kind of helped me navigate that. Right. And really was just like real, and just like they taught me the ropes, and they just taught me like certain street smarts. So Jamaica taught me resilience for real, and how to adapt. And
you said that you started to live there in like 8th grade, so that's like around like 14 like years old.
Yeah, man. I mean, well.
And how long were you actually
4 years.
Out there?
I left out there 2013, 2014, and I finished high school out there. You feel what I'm saying? It was their school system's a little bit different. They don't have 12th grade. So after you're done with 11th grade, you can go straight to college. They have 12th grade, but it's optional. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah, got you.
But after 11th grade, you're pretty much done with high school.
I didn't even know that.
Bro, it was such a, in some ways, I kind of wish I would have stayed for that, low key, because I was just like, especially when we get to the States, it was a little bit different for me. But you know, Jamaica taught me resilience and how to adapt and stuff like that. And I finished high school out there, and you know, I gained a lot. I had a lot of firsts out there.
What would you say? Because you mentioned that there was like it was a culture shock for
you.
So like, was there like one main thing that like sticks out, or was it just more just like an accumulation of like while you were out there, like that was the environment that like tested you? Like,
it was just an accumulation, but I think the main thing is that like, you know, it showed me how privileged we are out here. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Now I think, you know, I haven't been back since, but you know, I've seen how, you know, how the country has progressed. Unfortunately, you know, we recently had a Hurricane Melissa, and I've contributed to just sending stuff out there for help and stuff like that. But prior to, like, you know, there's been some progressions, but at that time, man, like, it showed me how privileged I was. You know, they didn't have, you know, unless you had like satellite TV, and if you had money to get satellite TV, you know, my parents were fortunate to bring direct TV over. But at that time, you only had like 2 channels, and those 2 channels had a variation of different channels. We have, you know, at that time, you know, because everything wasn't streaming then.
Right.
And now I sound old.
I know. I was thinking that like show like our age, man.
Jesus Christmas. But yeah, man, like channel 31, 32, 33, that was Disney, Cartoon Network, and Nickelodeon. Imagine all of that wrapped up in one channel.
Dang.
You feel what I'm saying? And then they're playing different things throughout the day. The news is at night, or the news is in the morning, all this type of stuff. TVJ is what they called it. And there was another channel, it escapes me. That was that was a thing. And then, you know, just how a lot of houses were built, you know what I mean? Zinc roofs and stuff like that. And just, again, like the schools were interesting. You feel what I'm saying? Everything was more so kind of like it was just a very interesting dynamic, especially because I didn't live in the city part. I lived in the countryside of things. You feel what I'm saying? And then even the city was interesting where I went to school at. You know, it was, you know, it just really showed you that out here we don't know how great we have it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the little things, it's crazy.
Yeah, and I feel like that's why like traveling is so vital, you know, because you see firsthand like how people in other countries are like living, you know. And the only other country that I've been to is Argentina.
Okay.
And
I've never been.
Yeah, I definitely recommend it. And if you ever go, let me know.
I
I
mean,
got you. I
feel
got
me?
you.
My wife been feeding for a trip.
So,
For sure.
yeah. So and I have family out there because of my mom's side. Being
Yeah.
from there, and it was a culture shock for me as well because again, it's like we get so wrapped up in like what we're going through and our struggles and all that, but then first time I went was 2012 and I was 16.
Okay.
Right? So when I went, I noticed that like while we had the PS4, they were still on the PS3.
That part.
Stuff that has been hot here, they're like 5 years behind with like trends and stuff
man.
like that. You know what I mean? So that was like a real eye opener. And then also too, like when you think of like poor living, I would say here, right? Like people automatically just think of like homelessness or like financially struggling, but like it is completely different, like out there.
I'll say like poor out there is interesting because Jamaica's like a very prideful country, and honestly they should be, and it's very interesting that poor out there it looks very different in many ways, but the one thing that really taught me something was work ethic and again resilience, because like you could be the poorest of poor, but you're gonna find a way to get up in the morning and get to work out there. Like
absolutely.
like laziness is so slept on out there, and honestly, it showed how lazy I was, man. Like staying, like sleeping in. You know what I mean? Like they frown upon that. You know what I mean? And I respect that now, especially as a grown man and everything like that. Excuse me, like they frown on that. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, it's like, they don't have time they can't afford to not get stuff done and to work towards something. You feel what I'm saying? Everything is about building and growth out there. And I actually, regardless of everything, like I'm actually proud to have even just experienced just a little tiny piece of that country in my time there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a part of me now, for real.
Absolutely. And before we get into life in the States,
Sure.
You mentioned the word resiliency and how that's been so important for you in your journey. So what did resilience cost you and what did it give back?
Ooh.
Really making you think.
Making me work, man. I love it. I love it. Bright lights. I love it, man. No, man. I'll say what it gave back to me was a sense of perspective. Was a sense of understanding that it can be worse, and even when it is worse, you still have an opportunity to fight. There are no such things as L's, only lessons, and you learn from them. And honestly, just when you think that it can get any worse, I mean, and the funny thing is, like, it's always gonna get bad before it gets good.
Yeah,
and
always.
I know you like your cliches, but fan of the show, I am a fan. For real. I'm a fan, but no, like it's so that's what is given back to me, and that's even something now that I'm very excited, to instill into my kids, my 3 beautiful babies. But yeah, resilience is giving back perspective. What it costs me now, geez, man. You especially in Jamaica, like I sacrificed. Granted, it wasn't my choice. I was a child, so my parents had the final say. But like in that regard, like I had to sacrifice what I knew. Right, I was a city boy, born and raised in the city in not a third world country. You know what I mean? I was born and raised in the States, and so everything was kind of handed to me in that type of way. And so my sense of comfort. I feel that like if you're resilient against something, that means you can't be comfortable because it takes you out of your comfort zone. It makes you uncomfortable. Yeah. Right. And so like in Jamaica, man, I had to find new ways to obviously I'm a musician, I'm an artist, and one of the things that I felt immediately that was taken away from me was how do I do music out here? Because at the time, hip hop was they liked hip hop. They like your Drakes, your Lil Waynes, and stuff like that. But like obviously, like it's dancehall, it's reggae, it's
Right.
Vybz Kartel, it's Bob Marley, it's all
Yeah.
these type of people, Assassin, Popcorn, Idonia, all these type of people.
Mm-hmm.
Hip hop was not necessarily their primary genre,
Right.
and R&B is not their primary genre. So for me, that's what I was doing.
Mm-hmm.
How do I create when it's not necessarily appreciated to that extent? Sure, they, I found ways to get in and stuff like that, and they appreciated the craft and the skill, but it was just like, where do I do music now? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. And then I had to lay low for a second, and then I had to literally find, ways to do it, blend in my talent into like the dance hall and the reggae and stuff like that. And so, it cost me, I mean, honestly, and it cost me friends. That being out there, I lost a lot of my friends in the States. You know what I mean? Because I left at a time where, it was just like,
I mean, that 13
Yeah,
to
man.
like 18-year-old
my
range.
goodness,
that's
man.
that's as transformative of years as like it gets.
Jamaica
Like, right
wasn't jail for me, but I felt like when I came back to the States, I came fresh out of prison and it was a whole new world. Because when I came back, it was the advent of the iPhone. And then I'm seeing people on their phones on the trains and stuff like that. When I left, it was like, you may have like a sidekick or something like that, or a black. Like I was just like, oh, what is this scrolling thing? You know what I mean? What is going on here? I'm seeing like the first Samsung, like I had the first Android. I was there for that, like and oh my gosh, like it took me
another culture shock coming.
It
back
just
with
took
that.
me out of reality for a little bit, like the reality that I used to have, and but the funny thing is, like, everything that it took away, it gave back to me in a broader sense, because again, it really showed me how privileged I was, and I think it gave me a sense of empathy and just true
and like
appreciation.
gratitude.
Yeah, man, for sure.
And with the topic of resiliency, especially when you come from a tough terrain upbringing, I feel like it's innate, and it's just part of who you are, because you have like no choice because of the environment that you grew up in, and I feel like it's something that if it isn't in your DNA, it just has to be developed, because if not, you can't navigate life without being resilient, because just like you said, like it gets worse before it gets better. And when those obstacles or difficult times come up, it's like, are you gonna just cave in and like succumb to all that, or are you just gonna just find a way through?
Absolutely.
And when it comes to the tough terrain side, you've said that the tough terrain has shaped most of your upbringing, but you also had exposure to the affluent acre side through mentors and teachers. So what did seeing both sides teach you that staying in just one world never could?
Interestingly enough, I never. So to get on, I never really experienced fully like the affluent acre side, but I got it through mentors and teachers. So it's like living or being exposed to a whole new life without actually stepping into the world. So I went to school in Brownsville, and it's inner city Brooklyn. You know what I mean, right in the heart of Brooklyn, and it was completely urban area. Tough terrain, and we had, obviously you had like your African American teachers, and teachers that came from the Caribbean and all this type of stuff, and like but then we also had our white teachers, and I went to my early education, kindergarten. I had a white teacher and a Hispanic and a Latin teacher, and they were both great, but I was automatically able to kind of feel that this was not something that should exist in my area per se. I actually remember, and then the funny thing about it too is that even with my African American teachers, like specifically, I have a teacher, I love him to death, Mr. Woodside, 8th grade, or just my whole junior high school. Like he was a proud Harvard Black pastor teacher. You feel what I'm saying? Like that man will let you know that he graduated from Harvard straight. And some of the things that he would teach me, man, would it's not something that I think in any other type of environment in the tough terrain side you would get. You know, teaching me how, like, in the midst of teaching about social studies, you're teaching me how to be a man at the same time. You're teaching me about just about, like, you know, there's more outside of Brownsville, right? Like, there's, you know, showing me, like, pictures of where he lived, and he lived in affluent acres, you know what I mean? Very much like the, you know, the gated communities and everything like that. And I'm just like, oh my God, like, you can obtain this, you know? And then even like some of our white teachers, man, like, you know, interestingly enough, I had a teacher named Mr. Green. He was like a Jewish teacher, man. But funny thing, he taught me a good portion of what I learned and what I respect about hip hop, ironically, but that's a whole different story.
That's why you can never judge a book by its cover.
You really
never judge
can't.
a book by its cover.
And he did it in a way where he taught his subject through hip hop, which was amazing. But, you know, even him, just again, like, being able to be like, man, like, do you really want to be a statistic here, you know? And these were things that were constantly being bombarded into our heads and into our minds, you know what I mean? From people that are in different spaces of the world and different spaces of life. And I think, you know, just having those type of influences shape, or just kind of like in your, like, constantly just like driving the point inside of you. I think at some point you just kind of start to, you're exposed to just so many different things, so many life lessons, so many geographical stuff, and then just like ideologies that you may not necessarily get from the tough terrain in urban areas, you know what I mean? So yeah, man, I think I'm grateful to Brownsville and Brooklyn just to have, you know, just different influences, for sure.
Yeah, and you know, thank you for all that, you know, and it really just gives a great insight, because one thing that you said that really stuck out to me was when you were talking about your professor that had the Harvard background. You know, it's like you see, like, oh wow, it is possible to live that way. And I think that is the biggest thing above all, is that when you primarily grow up in a urban, like typical urban type of area, right? Once you are exposed to that suburban type of upbringing, or just how people live in that way, it's like you only really see it in like movies, TV shows, but like when you actually meet someone that lives that way and have access to that, it really does make you realize, oh my gosh, it actually is possible. It's not something that seems like such like a pipe dream that like I can't do it. I actually can. And then the steps to get there are actually not as, it's not like I have to make giant ass leaps to get there. It's like there is an actual way that I can like legitimately establish myself to get to that point, you know?
Steps.
So yeah.
And just like, shout out to my mom too. Like, my mom was a secretary at like a law firm in the city. And, you know, pretty much primarily you're mostly going to just see, you know, white people in those offices and stuff. And you know, some of those people were her friends and stuff. And so there was times where I believe she brought me to work, you know, being able to like have even just like the way, you know, people speak, you know, being able to articulate yourself, being able to, you know, just carry yourself in a certain way, was definitely something that I considered, you know, based off what I was exposed to. And then, you know, she took me to different areas as well too. Like, you know, traveling, and then just even traveling, you know what I mean? Like, my mom had us on cruises and you know, took us to like just different places, man. Always had us like, you know, even road trips, you know, like, it's crazy what you see when you get out of your neighborhood, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
And so I think I always had that, not advantage, but a vantage point that I think really kind of shaped just at least my mindset per se.
Yeah, and that's really dope. And speaking of your mother, she is one of the people, and she's one of the people that primarily played a major influence in your life, as well as your former pastor, your mentor. If you had to explain how those influences showed up differently in your life, how would you describe their their roles?
My mom was very much the nurturer, very much the caretaker of just who I am and my dreams and my upbringing, my discipline, and just the way how I view life and how I navigate through life. You know, just always trying to make sure that I'm keeping in with the right crowd, not getting lost in, anything that can put me in a, just put me in different
precarious like situation,
you know what I
anything
mean?
like that. Yeah,
I remember, I love you, Mom, so I'm sorry. I remember, you get to a certain point in your age. I'm not gonna say every kid has this, but some, especially if you're a guy, you start to smell yourself a little bit. And so, you start talking back and you thinking that you know a person and you thinking that you can, you boss up on them. And it's just like, and then my mom was the type of person who was just like, well, I don't care how big you get, you going to fall down harder. You know what I mean? Like, it was one of those type of situations. You feel me? We ain't going to shy away from it.
Yeah.
But I remember it got to the point, man, where she had to get my cousin involved and low-key even bring me to like a police station, was just like, this is where you want to be? Like, is this like, because there's a place for people who act like you right now. You know what I mean? And she was very adamant on respect. Like, I grew up in the yes ma'am, yes sir, no ma'am, no sir household. And I'm proud of that, low-key, because it's gotten me. Respect gets you a lot further than like, you can have skills, talent, and all that type of stuff, or just a good work ethic, but respect can take you very far, and it has. And so she was very much on that part. So I think she instilled a lot of discipline, a lot of values that I share today, and that I look to instill in my kids. My former pastor was someone that I attribute a lot of just the way that I speak and the way that I'm able to just deep dive on certain topics and research and just my love, obviously, for God and my faith, and just having that foundation of who Jesus is in my life. You know what I mean? And I think I credit that all to him. You know what I mean? In a lot of spaces, not only theologically, but just in my life, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where, it's not, the relationship's a little different now, but like, I can't deny what his impact on my life was. And then honestly, Akira Shelton, that's like that is my boy.
Okay, got you.
That is my boy. You feel what I'm saying? That is my mentor, my father figure. He's my, he's pretty much just someone, he's my producer. This guy has rocked with me through the hardest of times. He met me when I was 17. He pretty much produced every beat that I've ever done. And he's watched me grow to having 3 kids, now being 30. And I mean, I will listen. Our relationship is, we roast each other, privately and stuff like that. But anytime I'm in public, anytime I get a chance to speak about this man, I will always give this man his flowers. Sorry.
It's all right. It means a lot to you, man. So,
he took a boy that just really loved music and really. He saw something in me that I didn't see in myself, and he has shown me what it's like to be a father, what it's like to be a man. He's seen me at my
yeah, and I want to add to that when it comes to pursuing something in life, yeah, believe in yourself, keep going, of course, but sometimes it gets difficult to do that because, again, you were just wrapped up in your own world and what you're going through. And having that someone or people that believe in you more than you believe in yourself, even if you believe in yourself to the highest degree possible, but you have that primary person or important people in your life that believe in you that much more, it adds even more purpose to your own purpose and your own journey and just life in general. And speaking of that love and support, before we get into the family aspect of things, I will say that when I went to your show last summer, it's really crazy that it's 2026.
The summer of Banton. Yeah, no, it was crazy.
So going to your show last summer and seeing the love and support, again, from your family, from that aspect, rolling deep, being the loudest ones in the best way possible. And just, it was so clear and evident that that love and support was there because they also believe in you. And that really resonated with me. And I never actually got to tell you this. So this is like, this is live from middle of the fence right now.
I'm here for it.
It really resonated with me, man, because that's how my upbringing was. Growing up with a large family, multi-generational living. Whenever I had my basketball games or whatever thing that I had, they would roll deep, man, and show that love and support. You know, and it just means it's something that you don't ever take for granted. And it's just something that I wanted to just highlight, man, because it's something that a lot of people don't have. And even at the show, I just remember if it was like one of the main like MCs, and I think he also performed as well. And he was saying how, yeah, I've been performing for years.
Oh yeah,
but my family has never come out to any of my shows. Yeah. So he literally shouted out like your family as well. So you know, I just wanted to highlight that, man, and just how much of a takeaway it was for me personally, man.
I appreciate it. Can I just make some brief anecdotes on that? First of all, thank you. Not only thank you for that, but thank you for showing up. Because you know, again, just to have support and have support reciprocated is a blessing. And
absolutely,
I want to say I'm actually, you don't even know how happy I was that you showed up to. In retrospect, after all the shows that I did last year, I'm happy that you showed up to that one, because that show was probably the most special. Shout out to KDK and the Raw Zone and the Give Back Show for that platform and for hosting me, and always, because
it was an amazing night.
It was just an amazing night.
Really
great
was.
artists
Really
and everything
was.
like that. Oh my goodness! But like for me, that was the most special night in my life in terms of music, because that was everything that I dreamt of happened in that night. I dreamt as a kid of like having everybody sing my songs, you know, confidently, word for word. That was the first time I went to a show, and I had the whole room pretty much sing it. But no, shout out to my biological family. That family that you saw, that was my biological family that showed up. My mom and my sisters and my nieces and nephews. Oh my God, it was such a beautiful. They pull up deep when they when they support, and they don't know. Again, they were a big part. Of course, my friends were there too, and just, you know, being able to make new supporters there. But like, they don't know that like that type of support means a lot, and it goes a long way. And for it to be seen and appreciated by others in the room, such as yourself, man, it was amazing. Shout out Ace Bradley for even making that comment on stage. You know what I mean? The host and great artist as well. But like, yeah, man, like, you know, that was a very special night. So again, thank you for coming. Thank you for shedding light on that for sure.
Of course. And showing up is what it's about. When it's like important relationships or supporting others, it's about showing up, right? Yeah, you can send a DM on Instagram and reply to like the story, or like comment on like the post, right? And even like reaching out to, you know, like reaching out via phone goes a long way too. But not all of that, you can mix all of those up in like a pot, and it still doesn't add up to like actually being there.
Yeah.
Because that goes a long way. And that's with any relationship in your life, you know, family, friends, significant other, anyone else that you cross paths with. Showing up is what it's about. Now, with the family portion of things, you got married at 23 and became a father at 25. 2 life shifts that force you to mature quickly. How did those moments reshape your definition of success?
Ooh. Ha. And it's still shaping it, but I think before success was and is still to some degree determined by what I did, my craft and accolades and all this type of stuff. But it's crazy, man. Like one of my other mentors and a few people, I'll name two. One of my other mentors, his name is Steph. Shout out Steph, man.
Mm-hmm.
He at a point in time when I was in the process of courting my wife, he was one of the main people that was like really keeping that part in perspective of just like, bro, you are this age and you are going about courting a woman to be your wife. Like that is, as a black man, you know what I mean, in a world where things just look completely different in that space. And so he was always someone that always pushed that to make me fully aware. Excuse me. And then my boy Shushu, man, like, he is very successful in his craft, and he's a professional. But he just literally this past weekend he won his first world title in MSG. You know what I mean? And
Shout out.
But he's someone that on the outside, to a lot of people, he's amassed so much fans, so much accolades in his thing, and one of the things that whenever we talk, it's just like, bro, I'm learning from you. Like, you have a wife, you have a child. And I say all that to say that, like, it's taught me that success is not all in the accolades. It's not all in the in what you've accomplished. You know what I mean? The things that you think make you and puts an identity towards you. Is not necessarily what defines success now for me. What success now for me is now especially is being a good father, being a good husband. Success is making sure that I show up. I work as a trucker as well, and so I'm pretty much away sometimes from my family. Crazy enough, after this, I'm going right into, you know what I mean. But like, when I come home, it's making sure I'm present, making sure that they're straight and everything like that. And so, like, having these two entities, these two things, a wife that loves and supports me and truly believes in me and is there for me every step of the way, and then having my kids who just see a man that whenever he walks through the door, they just run to and smile. I think I'm learning and appreciating and starting to identify that as success. You feel me? And so, that's really what it is for me. Yeah.
I mean, you were getting teary-eyed earlier, and the stuff that you were just like describing, man, that's what it's all about.
I almost got teary-eyed just now again. I'm like, bro, I don't know. Man. I'm like, am I emotional today? What's going on?
That's because we get deep on here, man. Just vulnerability for the audience that tunes in. And
sure.
Yeah, the accolades at the end of the day, of course it's nice to get recognized for like your work and things that you actively strive towards. Of course it is. But at the end of the day, it's, and everyone's definition of success is definitely different.
Yeah.
And I'm right there with you. Like, as far as like being a great husband, a great father to your kids, that's real success. Impacting people's lives in a positive way, that's real success.
Absolutely.
Right? So when you get caught up in the accolades and how you look and present yourself on like social media and are too concerned about what people say or think about you, like, what you define as success really does go a long way for sure. And speaking of success, you've been doing your thing from like the music front a little bit. So let's dive into that.
Okay.
So you joined an artist development group and went solo at 27.
Yeah.
And now balance music with trucking and fatherhood, which
Yeah.
you just touched on.
Yeah.
When did music stop being an interest and become a calling?
From the moment I wrote my first rap at the age of like 5 or 7.
Wow, 5 or 7.
Yeah, man.
You were
I
young with
started
it.
young,
Wow.
and listen, I'm gonna say this: people hate or they love to hate or troll this man, but Bow Wow was like my first inspiration because for me it was like. It was the music, but it was like the thing was for me at the time was like I wanted to be younger than him. I felt like he was the youngest kid rapper that was doing it. I wanted to be younger than him, so I was writing and everything like that just every day. And there's a famous story within my family, specifically my mom, where there's this recreational center in Brownsville called BRC, and at the time I was at daycare and they were doing like lullabies or nursery rhymes. And all the kids, I wish she was here. She could probably tell it better. But all the kids, if I remember correctly, they all lined up, and the teachers were just like holding the microphones in front of them, and let them recite and helping them recite their stuff. Little old me with a little light blue suit, looking like.
If you have that picture, please send it.
Oh, I got it. Oh, I got you. I have it, man. It's
send it.
literally probably the first picture on my Instagram if you go scroll all the way down.
Cool.
But yeah, man, like I apparently it was my time or I was supposed to do it with the group. I don't know what happened, but I guess I took the microphone from the teacher and I recited the nursery rhyme straight through by myself.
Wow.
And the story you would think ends there, according to my mom. Everybody, I guess they applauded and stuff like that. And I guess and I see it now, like I guess kids would usually just kind of like walk away or, whatever. I waited till everyone stopped and I just said thank you. And I guess that when I hear that story and, hindsight is 2020, it's like, that was like the first signs of me being an entertainer in general. So honestly, I've never looked at music, anything else but a passion and a calling, really, because I started rap groups in school, you know what I mean? And even with people that didn't know how to rap, I was like, yo, because I felt like, for me, it was like, well, doesn't everybody do music? Right? It felt
Right.
so. It just felt I was so passionate about I just felt like everyone did music at the time, and so I was just like trying to just recruit everybody, and then at some point, everywhere I went to was just like always making a group, and at some point I went to the artist development thing, and then that's where everything just really, really took off and showed me that music was it wasn't just a pipe dream for real. So, yeah.
Right. And one thing that I admire most about you as an artist is that you don't stay boxed into one genre. You can rap and drop bars, you could drop a reggae banger, you can do a little country on them, So why is refusing to be boxed into a genre so important to you creatively?
Because why should we?
Like literally to the point I just smacked my microphone because you're right. You're just like that's facts.
Oh my gosh, why should we? And the funny thing is, I didn't have this epiphany about genres until last year, or just in the making of the country track, the first country track, "Truckin' Christmas," because it was just like genres. I've heard people make this fight against genres about being kind of racially charged and everything like that, but I never understood it. I was always just felt like, all right, well, if you're successful in hip hop and R&B, then you're successful in that. Why are we making big deals? If you're successful in pop, all type of stuff. And then when you think about hip hop and R&B, who are primarily the people that do it? Pretty much black and brown folks who are most likely, coming from and they consider that urban music. Pop is usually like your more fair skinned, people, and country is country. But
best way to put it.
but the idea is that just because I come from Brownsville, if I wanted to do country, you don't know what happened in my life that country spoke to me. And then also at the end of the day too, it's like I am a product of hip hop and R&B. And honestly, and a product of pop and pop culture. I grew up on MTV, 106 and Park and VH1 and all this type of stuff.
Golden era.
This is the golden era of TV and entertainment. You feel what I'm saying? And so, like, all these things had an influence on me. So honestly, like, when I think music, I don't just think the things that people think that I'm supposed to do. I'm thinking about the things that inspire me on a daily basis. You know, even now really loving theater now, like, you know, and just Broadway musicals and all this type of stuff. Like, it's crazy. Like, I just don't believe now in, especially when, like, for me, it's like I think about versatility and how I show up in these genres as trying to be authentic to the genre itself, right? So I don't try to come in and then just impose my will on the genre. Like, I pay respects to it, you know what I mean? Like, specifically country, there's this wave of like trap country, where it's just like you put some guitars and a hip hop beat and then people call that country to me. I'm like, no.
And they're still rapping and dropping bars at the end of the day.
You feel what I'm saying? And they call that, and I'm not, listen, shout out to everyone that does it, you know what I mean? It's not it, but for me, it was like, if I wanted to do country, I wanted it to be like, when people hear it, you would think, and it happened. I have the video of the TikTok reactions and the all type of stuff, but people would think that that's a white man singing it, because I wanted to understand the genre and I wanted to pay homage while also bringing my style into it and my concept and my ideas and my life into it. But at the end of the day, it's like I wanted it to be authentic. And same thing with like dancehall and reggae. Like, people, there was a wave of like Caribbean music that happened some years ago and even recently, and it's just like, when I hear people do it, I'm like, especially experiencing the culture,
right?
I'm like, you don't understand a thing about that feeling, that rhythm, that like what that means to that people and why we even got to this place. And so when I did it, like you don't even hear people even try to use the accent. They try to, and they try to be, you know, tongue in cheek with it. I was like, well, no, we're gonna bring patois in it. You know what I mean? We're gonna bring different sounds of just the diaspora into the music. And I think, for me, I think that's why it kind of touched and reached people in a certain way, because I felt like I was authentic, and I'm hopefully authentic, you know, to the people, especially in Jamaica, you know, all my friends. I hope I did y'all justice, but like, you know, it's
big up to the island.
You know what I mean? Like, and so I just believe versatility is a skill, it's a gift to be able to appreciate different art forms and to show love to it. And also, I'm just very prideful in my pen.
Great way to put it. And, you know, you stole the mic from a teacher as a youngster. How would you feel about stealing the mic for a little bit?
I didn't know. Listen, man, there's only a picture. I don't remember that feeling. I mean, I remember doing it.
How about like right now for the audience?
Oh man. Okay.
I mean,
sure.
Do a little something.
Sure. Why not, man? Why
Keep
not?
it up, Mark.
Why not? Yo, it's your boy Banton. You feel what I'm saying? Middle of the fence with my boy Andre. You feel what I'm saying? This is my new single, Low Key. Stand on It, out soon, featuring. May want to keep that private for now. Now I mean, it's a little vibe to it. Listen. Oh, we do have it. All right, cool. Look, we outside with it. Can't believe I'm still alive. I tell him God did it. Overcoming every demon, every lying spirit. Devil thought he had me, you would think that I was tired tripping. So you know I'm coming with the heat like it's July with it. 2025 had a little bit of pride to it. I was fighting with the flesh, I had to die to it. Difference between a blessing and a curse, that is my doing. You just gotta vibe to it, baby. It's a new year, happy new year. Tell them it's a new you, what it do, yeah. If you stepping out on faith, you deserve a new pen. If it wasn't for his grace, would you even be? Say car no rent, do what it do. He gon' work it out for you, living proof, yeah. Devil had a new, Jesus cut it loose, yeah. Now I'm walking in the truth, let me introduce, yeah. I don't ever gotta worry about it, he gon' handle it like he don't play about me. If he said it, he gon' stand on it like you don't know my God. That my God, he my champion. Any weapon from the gift, he finna cancel it. Two-stepping, baby, I'ma put a dance on it. Hey, I don't ever gotta worry about it. He gon' handle it like he don't play about me. If he said it, he gon' stand on it like you don't know my Lord. That my God, he my champion. Any weapon from the gift, he finna cancel it. Two-stepping, baby, I'ma put a dance on it like,
Yeah.
You feel me?
Let's go. 5 times. Let's go.
Man, appreciate you for that one, man. Thank you for that. Oh,
Of course, man. So that's the new single coming out. Stand on it.
Stand on it.
And
Show.
it feels aligned with everything you've lived.
Yeah.
So what inspired this record, and what do you hope people feel or do after hearing it?
Well, I mean, you know, let's just start off with the surface level of it. I was in the process of doing I was in the process of writing some more country music because I had a run-in with a specific type of person on the internet who told me that I don't belong in country music.
Oh my gosh.
And I thought that was very interesting. So now that just made me be like, okay, well, if you feel that way, I'm going to make more. And I'm going to try to make it some of the best country music you ever heard, for real. And so I was in the process of doing that, and I ran into like a block. I just couldn't really find the words to a song that I was writing. And I just started to scroll. You know, I've learned that, you know, if you're experiencing a block, especially in writing, or if like something is not coming to you, that means, you know, you just got to take a step back. And I think that could be applied to anything in life. If just something's not working, take a step back, analyze, take a breather, go walk it off, you know, and come back to the thing with a fresh, clear mind. So I did that, and I found this beat on YouTube, this Kendrick and J. Cole beat on YouTube, and this joint just like spoke to me. Mm-hmm. Like all the words came out. And now just to get a little bit deeper, I took like a little hiatus, like a little 3-month hiatus, because while the music I felt like I was making before was fun, and it, you know, it touched people in different ways, like, you know, made people feel good. You know, I felt like the Lord was really kind of moving me into a whole different space. And, you know, one of the things I felt that he told me was like, you know, change the message and I'll bless the music, you know. And it was something where it's like, for me personally, I wanted to talk about, you know, what that means to fully walk in faith, you know, when everything,
right,
like to sacrifice just the stuff that I was doing for real was hard. And so, you know, making a song just about giving thanks to God, and just, you know, and just what he can do in your life, you know, when you turn away from things that just don't necessarily serve him and honor him. It was just one of those things where it was like, I never knew I could make a song about that and still make it fun and still make it danceable and you know, and all that type of stuff. Like, I felt like, you know, if I'm making a song about God, it has to be on some, you know, like just what we consider gospel,
like
or
what you typically hear.
You know what I mean? And
yeah.
I was just like, I personally felt that I didn't have to compromise that part. It was just like, change the message and I'll bless the music. And honestly, that song, just off of a simple video, I haven't even really promoted it like that. But when I dropped like some promotional stuff from IG to TikTok to YouTube, like, it's been the most engagement I've gotten, and that song's not even out yet. So and I'm just like, wow. And so you feel what I'm saying? Yeah, and so, you know what I mean? Especially on the artist that's going to be pulling up to it. I'm so happy. It's a her. I will say that. I'm excited. She's from Arizona, and she is just one of the dopest doing it right now. So I low-key just want to say it, but long story short, man. Yeah, but long story short, man, you know, it was just trying to just tap in with my faith and just be honest about my journey to how we got to this part. And yeah, man, and everything I believe that God said, he gonna stand on it, and I stand on his word. So yeah.
Love it. And as we begin to wrap up here, this will be a rapid fire section.
Okay.
Because what people may not know, about you is that you're a true comic book nerd and growing to
Comic
be a
book movie
theater-
nerd.
yeah, and growing to be a theater nerd, right?
Yeah.
So these are rapid fire. Okay, I got 3 for you.
Ooh.
Marvel or DC?
Marvel.
Favorite comic book movie?
Endgame.
One character that reflects your journey?
Spider-Man.
All right, man. So
Period.
where
Just like that.
where can people tap in with you to support your work and follow what's next?
What's going on, y'all? It's your boy Josh Banton coming to you from Middle Defense right here with my boy Andre. You can catch me on all socials at Josh Banton with 2 N's. Don't forget them because you can't find me without them. And stay tuned for my new single, Stand On It. Featuring a very special guest, a very special artist. That is coming very soon. Just watch out, man. We got a lot coming on the way. I'm excited for what 2026 was bringing. 2025 was a very different year, but 2026 is about to be the breakout. So stay tuned. We here for it. Let's go.
Love it, man. Josh, thank you so much for joining us
Thank you,
today.
man. This was amazing.
Appreciate it.
More to
And-
come. Hopefully I can come back.
Of course, man.
All right, cool.
Of course. And just another reminder, guys, that no matter what side of the fence you grew up on, we're all more alike than we think. My name is Andre Sproul. Catch you guys next time. Peace.
Peace.
Thank you so much for tuning in to this episode. And if you like this episode, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe here on YouTube and hit the little notification bell so you can be the first to be notified when the latest episode drops. Also, be sure to check us out on your favorite podcast streaming platform as well, Spotify and Apple Podcasts. And again, no matter what side of the fence you grew up on, we're all more alike than we think.